Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Aaron, and today we will be talking about the MSP FLX Mag Carrier and how you can take this and attach it to your existing MSP Pro Series holster. If you're unfamiliar with the MSP holster, it is a universal holster design based off of the weapon light. So if you like to run multiple different setups but share the same weapon light, this holster might be a good option for you. Currently, we have options for the Surefire X300, the Streamlight TLR1 and TLR1 HL, as well as the Modlight PL350. Just order the holster specific to which light you'll be running, and then you can freely interchange that with whatever gun you are running. Keep in mind though that the spare mag carrier will be specific to the type of firearm you are using. For example, this is a Glock mag, so for that you would select the 9/40 double stack mag carrier. If you are running a 45 or a 2011, there is a specific option for that, as well as a 9 or 40 single stack mag carrier. So if you purchased a MSP Pro Series holster, it would have come with the holster side like this, as well as a separate non-attached spare magazine carrier. This was our first MSP holster that we released, and shortly after we released the MSP Pro Series Flex holster, which comes with an attached spare magazine carrier, similar to our Axis Slim or Axis Elite holster, utilizing that same shot cord that we use to ensure a universal fit on the firearm. We use the same shot cord to attach the spare mag carrier. So if you would like to upgrade to the Flex MSP holster, you can go to our website and you can purchase an MSP Flex Mag Carrier, and it will come with the mag carrier that you select, as well as some shot cord in your choice of color, as well as the choice of color for the Kydex on the spare mag carrier. If you're into that two-tone look, you can even order a different color than your MSP Pro Series holster. If you like that, or a different color shot cord, whatever you want, you can customize that. So let's get into it. If you receive this and you're unsure of how to attach these two pieces correctly, it is a fairly simple process. And if you have ever laced up a pair of shoes, you will find that it is fairly similar to that as well. There are some differences though, and I will show you that. First, need to unthread the existing shot cord there, and you might be able to use that same shot cord. It might be a tad too short, but that is why we provide you with an extra piece of shot cord. And we cut them all to, I believe, about 12 inches, so you might have a little bit of extra, and you can just easily trim that off and singe the ends so they don't come unraveled. But you will find a single knot in the back here. By this clasp, you will simply remove that knot, remove the clasp, and just unthread the shot cord naturally. Keep in mind and maybe pay attention to how that is threaded. That will help you just to know what it should look like when you begin to rethread the shot cord. Each loose end of the shot cord is threaded through each row of eyelets. So that is how it would be different than lacing up a pair of shoes. Instead of going through each eyelet only with one of the loose ends, you will go through both. So I will show you what that means here in a second. So this looks kind of worn and a little bit old and used, so we'll just set that one aside. And in order to attach these, let's go with the red shot cord. Keep track of your clasp. You will need that at the end. Before you start to try to thread the shot cord through these, keep in mind that the MSP FLX Mag Carrier was designed similar to the Axis Elite and Axis Slim in that it should sit on the back side of the MSP Pro Series holster. So you should line these up like this coming from the rear of the holster, and then MSP sitting in front. That will also help aid in concealment. As the holster flexes, it won't work against itself to cause the grip of the gun to print more, or the spare mag holder. As it flexes, it'll actually cause greater concealment and that grip of the gun to hug your body a little bit better. So I like to take both ends and thread one end through both of the top holes, going from the front of the holster where the belt clips are toward the back of the holster. And then likewise, go through the top two holes of the Flex Mag Carrier. and then they will line up just like that. Make sure they line up and nothing is staggered. So looking from the back of the holster, make sure that the top strand has maybe about 1 inch more of material than the bottom one. Just has to travel a longer distance to make it to the bottom, so I give it a little bit extra just to make sure. This is where things can become somewhat of a challenge, though it is not difficult if you know what you are trying to do. So what I like to do is take the second strand, the second row, kind of pull it tight a little bit. Helps if you can kind of hold all the pieces and then pinch this one with your thumb. Kind of pull some of the slack out of it, because you will be threading the top strand through the second eyelet. So there's already shot cord in there, so there's not much room to work with. But that's okay, it will fit. And you want to make sure that nothing is frayed on the shot cord and that everything is singed and there's not a big massive chunk of burnt shot cord there to impede you. So you want to thread that through and then pull that tight. So now you will see that you have the top 2 holes threaded from either side. And then I like to take that same strand that just came through the front and go down to the 3rd hole, and it should already be lined up. There's nothing in there, so you can just stick it right through. It should go through without any issues. And so you just repeat the process. Take the top strand from the back side of the holster, pull the strand that just went through the 3rd eyelet, pull it tight, and then you should be able to thread that from the back to the front. And this time I'm trying to go through all 3 eyelets at the same time, and it worked. If you find that it gets caught or snagged, you might have to pull the spare mag carrier back just a little bit, thread it through that, pull it tight, and then thread it through the rest of the holster. So just like we did before, take that strand that is sticking out the front of the holster, go down to the last row of eyelets, thread it through to the back, and that is it. So I have quite a bit of extra here, so I will go ahead and secure these 2 pieces with this clasp that has been provided. Make sure you tighten it, pull. I like to pull the shot cord fairly snug, and then make sure there's still a decent amount of flex. If you want it a little bit stiffer, a little bit tighter, go ahead and pull it a little bit more. If you want it looser, leave a little bit of play in there. Once you find that appropriate setting for you, go ahead and just tie it down so you don't lose that clasp. And there you have it. It is attached and it's not going anywhere. With this extra, you can just cut it off nice and easy with a knife. Don't cut yourself, and then take a lighter and just singe the ends just a little bit. Make sure nothing starts to fray. This method is the exact same method that you would use if you needed to rethread your shot cord on your Axis Elite or your Axis Slim holster. Starting with the top 2 holes, thread each strand through each eyelet, going back and forth, and then you will end at the bottom 2 holes, reapply the clasp and tie a little knot there, and you should be good to go. So again, this works for the MSP Pro Series, just the standalone holster, should you need to rethread the shot cord. It also works with attaching the MSP FLX Mag Carrier, as well as attaching the mag carrier to the Axis Elite and Axis Slim holster. You'll notice there is a second piece of shot cord on the spare mag carrier on both the MSP FLX as well as the standard MSP Pro Series Mag Carrier. And that helps again with the universal fit of a magazine. If you need to change that piece of shot cord because it's worn out or you lost it or something, or you just want to change the color, that is also a fairly simple process. Again, we will start by untying the knot on the back side of the holster. You will notice that it is slightly different than how we lace this shot cord to attach the spare mag carrier. You will undo it from the back side. You'll see your 2 strands there. Push those through and you will notice that they cross in the front of the holster. You will start, instead of like on this shot cord, you will start from the back side. Take both strands, put them through each eyelet there, all the way through to the front. So starting on the back, moving to the front, you will cross and then you will insert each strand through the opposite eyelet. And so you can do that just the same as you did with the other row of shock cord. It is not too difficult, but this one is just a slightly different method. Make sure you get both strands through the eyelets, but then you'll see both strands through the back. Tie a knot back here. And this one, you don't have a clasp, so you will double knot this one and you will be good to go there. Just the same, trim any extra, singe the ends so they don't fray. And this can also be used to adjust the retention and kind of the fit of the magazine carrier. Again, this is not super universal. You will have to differentiate between like a double stack, a single stack, or a 2011 mag. And we know some of those are still different, like a Glock mag versus an MMP mag versus a CZ mag, things like that. Even though they are 9 double stack, they will still fit slightly differently. So you can use that to fine tune the fit as well as the retention adjustment there, just like you normally would. Once you get both pieces of shock cord in place, it is always a good idea to double check your retention on both the gun as well as the spare magazine. This shock cord can affect the retention slightly on the gun side and can affect it quite a bit on the spare magazine side. So after you get that set up, go ahead and check retention and make sure it is how you like it, as well as on the spare mag carrier. If you need it looser, loosen it up a little bit. If you need it a little bit tighter, you can tighten it. And also don't forget about the retention adjustment screws that will be your main source of retention. The shock cord, you can fine tune it with that, but make sure everything's good to go. Throw it on, make sure everything's set up correctly, and that is how you thread the shock cord on the MSP Pro Series FLX holster. This is a great holster, guys, and if you're looking for something universal, this is a solid option. Both of these are very concealable. They're big setups, but you will be surprised when you put them on how concealable and comfortable it is. It was a great design, collaboration with us here at Tier 1 Concealed and Scott Jedlinski with Modern Samurai Project. So check this out on our website and be sure to like the video, subscribe, tell your friends about us, and leave a comment below. Let us know what you want to see next. If you have any other questions about holsters or any of the products we offer, little tips and tricks or how-tos like this video. And we appreciate you guys. Stay safe, stay strapped, and we will catch you next time.